Hey, 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 Game Topper Nation, welcome to Kickstarter 3.0 Game Toppers Live. And today we have our special guest, good friend of mine, Mark Streed from the Dice Tower Previews and the Board Game Corner. Welcome, Mark, to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited to see what all the new stuff that you've unlocked for Game Toppers.
Absolutely. We're going to have a really fun time today. We're going to talk about some of the most recent stretch goals that have been unlocked. We're also going to reveal the current surveys of all of your mat questions. So people have been jumping in there. We have about 175 responses so far of what people thought their favorite maps were and what their XL mats. People are clamoring, I want more XL mats. And so we've been listening and we have some surprises, right?
Yeah.
It was kind of funny when we were looking at a couple things, Josiah goes, oh, that surprises me. Mark asked me a question before the show. He said, what's the favorite mat? And I said, the world may never know.
It was awesome.
How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop?
Too fun.
But we're going to reveal that where we're at now.
Good.
And that all being said, Saturday night, I'm going to make the decision which extra 4 XL mats are going to be unlocked, bringing it up to a total of 8. So currently we have the Steel Gray, the Adventure, the Crimson Red, and the Terrain Green. We do have a few of the Terrain Green with the hex grid in the 3 sizes, Holmes, Watson, and Mycroft XL. But we're probably going to be moving those just as an option in our store and not carrying them going forward because they didn't sell that well. They're super cool, but they didn't sell that well.
The Terrain Green is one of my favorite ones to film with because it fits with so many games, you know.
Well, so that's what we're going to try to talk about today. But let's, as people are joining in the chat, Mark, tell us a little bit about your involvement in the board game hobby and how that has progressed and what you're doing now.
Yeah. So, I mean, to start things off, how I got into content was Tom put out in a board game breakfast one day and said, if you're interested in doing reviews, send me an email. And so I did. And so we started doing reviews, and I did it with my buddy Randy, and our first review was Walk the Plank, which is still up, and it's first video was rough. If you want to go see a rough video, go watch that first video. But fast forward to today, a series of different shows and different types of things that we did. But now I'm doing mostly the Dice Tower previews for Kickstarter folks and even publishers who want just to preview their published game. It happens as well, but a lot of Kickstarter stuff, as you can imagine. So it's really more of a cinematic piece. It's really a show and tell piece. It's not a how to play. It's not a review. I'm just there to say, check out this coolness. So,
yeah. How many previews do you do?
Oh man. So I think we have well over 300 at this point, and I've been doing it full time for 2 years now. So something like that, and maybe longer, but yeah. So every month, on average doing 2 to 4 a week, something like that. So, yep.
Looks like we have some people already in the chat.
Cool.
Chris says, hello, amazing people.
Hey.
Chris Goodlet.
Thanks, Chris.
How's it going?
He also says the Viking, Locket, and Crimson Red are his top 3 mats.
I like the Viking one quite a bit.
Yeah, that was a crazy popular mat last Kickstarter. It's kind of interesting. I posted the survey in Game Topper Nation on our Facebook group. We have our Game Topper LLC page, and I did post it there also, the link, and in the updates to our backers of this campaign for everybody to join in on this survey. But Game Topper Nation is generally people who have already backed our product. There's almost 1,000 people in that group. I think you're a part of that group, right, Matt? Mark?
Yes. Yep. So,
and I mean, it's such a great community. People
It
are
is.
posting all their pictures. If anybody has a question, like 10 of our backers will jump in and go, yeah. This is what I thought. And
Totally.
it's awesome.
It's really good. Yeah, I think for the current crop of mats, I think the pirate one might be my favorite at the moment. It's just so cool. It's just beautiful.
It's when we got that one, Josiah and I both definitely looked at it and had eyes for it. That's for sure.
So cool.
Yeah. That just the kind of turquoise blue that's going on there is very stunning. Catches your eye.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It looks like we've got another comment from Jeff.
Jeff says, "Hi guys, proud backer of the Oak Baker Street package. Can you show us a top-down view of the dice tower? I want to make sure the ramps allow dice to roll and not drop straight down into a hole."
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, like, Mark has one there.
Mark has one right there.
There it is.
And there's the ramp. There's 2 ramps in there.
Yep, there's 2
So
ramps.
if you roll the dice towards the front of the ramp, it'll cause them to randomize, and then it rolls down into the corral and holds them in. If you drop them from a real high height, and towards the back of the castle, they kind of shoot down a little bit faster to the corral and can have a tendency to bounce out a little bit. So if you roll your dice in the front of the corral, or not quite so far up, they roll in there just really great.
I haven't seen them bounce out for me yet. I have to see if I can make that happen.
Well, one of the things that's so cool about our mats is they're 3 millimeters, so they do provide a little bit of that bounce.
They absorb some of that bounce. Yeah.
How do you feel about the dice tower system while we're talking about it?
Oh, I love it. It's so cool, and I love that it's got. For me, particular, I actually have the dice tower set aside. It holds a bunch of my little tools for filming as well, like remotes, and I've got dice that metal dice that have like putty on the side, so I can stick cards to them and stand them up in the frame. So I have like my dice tower on the other side over here, holding a bunch of the little tools that I use in filming. As well as, using it for gaming and so forth. So, I think I love it. I can't imagine not having it now. I'd be like lost.
Well, one of the innovations that we did was this dice tray. And you'll notice there are 4 larger wells, and these are pretty decent sized wells that you can get quite a bit of components in. Mm-hmm. And then the 2 dice channels that are there, but you can put components in there. But you'll notice right here, can you screen share that video on our web on the Kickstarter campaign or not?
I can work on it.
Here, Josiah's going to see. I posted a video. We have unlocked the castle player shields.
Right.
And what's really cool about the castle player shields, they fit inside of these slots all the way around. This was a preemptive decision when we designed this last Kickstarter. We just didn't have the player shields developed. And Josiah's going to pull this up. There's a little movie. It's just a little, 7-second thing showing how they sit. And they provide privacy screens. So games that you have hidden components. There we go, right there.
They're not going to see it yet.
All right. Josiah's working on it. I'm looking at the screen too. And so we're working on a screen share. We'll show you these privacy screens, and these are just modular and be real easy to pop in, pop out, and everybody can have their own one.
Almost there.
All right. I'm glad I have a techie guy here with me. I'll tell you that. I always throw these things at the last minute at him, though, too,
Yeah, that's so cool.
All right, here we are. Ta-da!
Yeah, that's so cool.
In the future, we're going to continue to develop thematic ones, like we're planning on doing a Viking longboat version, also a dragon that comes out in front, and they're designed to where it can actually go ahead of the front of the screen a little bit, just to provide that little extra cool factor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so cool.
We have that's been unlocked, and we're offering those for only $9.95. They're going to be out of a heavy-duty cardboard, just like a really good quality board game board. So it's stiff, it's nicely finished, and all of that. But then we're also going to be able to do more artwork as we continue with this process. If we hit some big numbers at the end of this campaign, you might see some additional specials happening with that product.
Too fun.
So tell us a little bit, Mark, how has Game Toppers impacted your company, your ability with your reviews and all that?
So one of the big things that I love to do for Game Toppers is the fact that every game I try to customize the playmat when I film. And I'm always conscious about how good the game would look on a certain mat. And that's something I look forward to all the time, and definitely in content creation. And also the fact that I stream, I haven't done it for a little while now, but I also stream some Lego builds, and this table is the best Lego build table ever. So I love that. And of course, just in general in game nights, prepping a game to film, playing here, then it's all set up and ready to go for when I jump into play. Obviously having this as a permanent fixture. I know Game Toppers can be taken down and put up anywhere, but mine is more of a permanent fixture in the studio.
Yeah, so, tell people that don't know, you did something that was, I was so impressed with how you did your table with your dad.
This was so fun. So we went to Habitat for Humanity and we found an old antique table for like $35. Refinished it and cleaned it up, and it's my permanent table in the studio. But then I also put movers underneath the legs so I can easily reconfigure my Game Topper in the room to be whatever I need it to be for filming. So and it's super sturdy. You wouldn't even know it wasn't just part of the table. I mean, it looks seamless, sitting in here. So
it's super classy. You'll have to post some pictures of it for people.
Definitely.
But it's a Duncan Fife kind of antique pedestal table that they glued and tightened up, and they painted it black.
Yes.
And it's the classiest, coolest looking thing, I tell you. And that's the thing with the Game Topper. People think, oh, it's just a topper. No. It's this topper is highly designed to be really modular and functional.
Yes.
But it's classy looking.
Yep.
And when you have it under a nice table base, you don't know that you don't have a $5,000 table, because it feels like that.
It does. It feels like a super high-end table. It's just the best thing in my studio for sure. So.
Well, that was a super fun time as that was all happening, and you were preparing your studio, and you guys are doing that table. It was really fun to see.
It was great because it was all part of completing the room. And this used to be my kids' playroom when they were little, and just redoing the wall. And I have permanent lights hanging in the room. And the Game Topper obviously just finished it off, just made it just that next level for the studio. So, and
you have one of our Gen 1 toppers that you've had for what, like 4 years or something?
4 years, easily that long. So, and zero problems. It's beautiful. It works as always. And all the new things like the castle for dice rolling is just, everything fits just like it should, as if it was a brand new table. So.
Yeah, we've worked really hard to try to make everything backward compatible.
Yep.
Yeah, it's challenging at times, and sometimes it means we have to maybe not do something we might want to do.
Sure.
But then it also means that gives us the opportunity to figure out ways to adjust that and make it fit. So it makes us kind of think a little differently about things and how we're designing things, that we're making products that work for everyone to the best of our ability.
Yeah, for sure. And it definitely shows. I mean, just in the quality that it's stood the test of time, so to say. Everything about it's just fantastic. So
yeah, we our dining covers, for instance, will work perfectly with your topper. Right. And we even the one difficulty that we had was trying to design a leg kit for the Gen 1 toppers, because the rail itself didn't lend itself to the right engineering to mechanically fasten a leg. We spent quite a bit of time and money with 3 prototypes doing that because we wanted to do it, but everything we designed just didn't look great, or it was super expensive, or it was wobbly. And I thought, why would we make a $300 solution that doesn't work as good as a plastic folding table?
Agreed.
So that's why we, after a lot of that analysis, and it was hard for me to make the decision, and it was really expensive too, because we spent a lot of time on prototyping, and then we redesigned the aluminum rail to have the C channel that allows for the hammer bolts to go in there and lock mechanically, so it's really sturdy. Like our new leg kit solutions and the center supports, I mean, we were super impressed with how solid they were. They're way better than a folding table.
Oh, for sure.
It still provide that portability, right?
Yeah. And I mean, the whole reason we did that was because our backers told us they wanted that. You know, that wasn't something that we initially thought of, because we had the game toppers designed to be on a table, and that was kind of the idea behind it. But the backers kept saying, we want these to be freestanding. We want, you know, our toppers to be able to be tables. So we made an adjustment and trying to get people what they want.
And still having portability, because these legs, you screw, once the brackets are in, you basically don't have to take them out unless you're making the little one. You have to take out the end too. But if you're making your bigger topper and you want to take it to game night, all you have to do is take apart the center section. And then we've got specialty leg kit bags that we just unlocked. You can see these on the stretch goals. These things are awesome bags with a center divider with it's padded so that it'll protect them so they won't clank and bang around, just like with the dining cover bag that has all the individual dividers. And so anyway, you can take your game topper to game night and not worry about having to carry a 6-foot table with you in the back of the car, and just screw the legs in. It's that, I mean, these legs, they're really great. Yeah. They're super heavy duty. They're slightly adjustable if you have an unlevel floor. And this screw that goes into that receiving plate, you just tighten it down and it's solid. So awesome. I think people are going to like them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as far as the Gen 1 goes, though, I mean, just having it on a solid table like I have is pretty amazing. So obviously for that portability, though, with legs and everything, that's pretty awesome.
And for those of you that aren't concerned about having your own leg kit solution, you just like having the folding table, they work really well on the folding tables.
Yep.
I mean, we have 30 publishers that are using them in heavy convention use, and a bunch of retailers. The Sherlock Holmes model was specifically designed for that 30 by 72 plastic lifetime table, and it just works great.
Yep. And we've given the recommendations, you know, as long as you stay within that 9-inch or less overhang on the sides, it's very stable. We demo our toppers on folding tables at conventions, and when we demonstrate them, we'll put all of our weight on the rail and jump off, and they hold up just fine. So
it's impressive when you see a Berkey jump and put all his weight on the end of the rail. Just jumping is impressive at my age.
That's awesome.
I see we have Raymond is here. Congratulations, Raymond, for Board Game Heaven. His YouTube channel is growing, and he has been a really awesome contributor to help us in the Netherlands with a lot of the Europeans. When I'm sleeping at night, he's jumped in and helped us with a lot of questions, and it's so grateful for all of that.
Contrary to popular belief, yeah, you do sleep.
I do sleep. It's not so surprised.
Chris says the dice tower is great. I love how it will hold the dice, and the catcher is great as well.
Cool.
Yep.
Absolutely. Question coming in from DM Santuki. If one was to purchase the Mycroft, does it fit in one storage bag, or do you need a second bag for the extension?
That's a great question.
It is.
So the Mycroft comes in 3 sections. You have the 2 end sections and then the leaf in the middle. And the 2 end sections go in their own double-sided storage bag. But the leaf also has its own bag that comes with the Reichenbach Falls package. So if you get the Reichenbach Falls package, it comes with the storage bags for the two topper halves and the leaf. And that makes it a little more portable and easier for one person to carry around, since that 4 foot span of the Mycroft makes it there's more material there. So having those smaller chunks makes it easier to carry around in one bag, keeps the weight down.
Yeah, it's really that redesign of the Mycroft was not only do you get the Mycroft 4 foot by 6 foot topper, and you can add, because we went to this leaf evolution, you can add another 24-inch leaf. So you can have a 4 foot by 8 foot to cover your ping pong table or your pool table. Super cool. But each of those leaf bags, they're really manageable now. The old Mycroft that had 2 3 foot by 4 foot pieces, it was great. You could add a rail to it and have an Adler, which we still offer now because people do want that smaller size. But it was really a big honking box for us to ship. The shipping would start to cost us to go into that higher shipping dimension that could have cost like $500 to ship. So we were like, how do we solve this problem? And then with the leaf, it was like, okay, all of a sudden, all the pool table owners, we've got that figured out. And right away, I knew that the Watson owners and the Holmes owners go, why can't I have a leaf? I want mine bigger. Yeah. So I asked our manufacturer, he goes, yeah, it's the same 24-inch aluminum pieces. It's just changing the floor. That's easy peasy. And immediately we did that, and people love the XL solution to make that extra long topper.
Yeah, I know when we had the first generation Mycroft, that was just the 2 halves. It was so massive in the bag that, I'm almost 6 foot, and I could barely get it off the ground because it's just so tall, even with the shoulder strap. It was hard to carry, and it's so much easier to carry it in the 24-inch Moriarty sections. So,
do you have a game bag there, Mark?
No, I don't have a game bag.
But you never move yours anyway.
Never move mine. If I did move it a lot, I would definitely want one, though.
I mean, you've seen them, and you know how high quality they are.
Very nice. Yep.
You have some of our other products there too that I know that you've talked about a little bit. What do you like about those?
Well, I really like these new cup holders. And this is just the single, but the fact that it's so versatile, and then just the cover for it as well, super cool. I use these all the time. I mean, I have the old ones, right? The original.
Yep.
And I don't even use those now because these are so cool.
Yep.
So I love that they can be either or, right? Cup holder or whatever else. And I know the old one still had an insert you could do to make it, but this is just better. So, and then of course, all my other things I have are just like storage trays and things like for poker chips, but I use them for everything. So I've got like cubes or tokens that I have just left over. Yeah. So whatever I need in filming, and it's funny, most of my trays and things are filled with stuff for filming. So
right.
Yep. So
have you seen the new little coasters that go?
I have not. So you told me about them, but I haven't seen them yet.
I tell you, I've told this story, so I feel like but I know we always have new people that listen to these question and answers and come in, from the Kickstarter after this is recorded live and listen to it. But it was one of those days that we all have, right? And you're just like, is anything going to go right today? And I got this in the mail, and we had been working on it because we wanted to provide a solution to make a flat bottom to cover the hole where the can goes. I mean, that generally works great for most cups, cans, some bottles, all that kind of stuff. Plus, you can put a big cup in there with the handle and the big water bottles. But sometimes if you had a weird shaped cup or a square, some of those square water bottles and stuff like that, then it would catch in the hole a little and tilt. And anyway, listening to people, thinking about it, we could have done acrylic. We were going to do that initially. And then after we unlocked all those goals last campaign, we decided not to do that. And then rethinking it, we came up with these, and I got these in the mail. You can use them just as regular coasters. They're waterproof, they're rubber, they're just a slight bit of texture, but not enough to cause any wobbling. Now you can roll dice in your tray. You can use it as a chip holder. Just fill it full of Doritos, baby.
Right.
It's a dishwasher safe.
That's awesome.
Big fun.
Yep.
And now we unlocked a stretch goal for all of the packages and the Odin bundle and Dragon bundles that you get actually 4 of these. They're normally $10. You get 4 of them included in the packages. So that's kind of cool. Looks like we got another question.
Yes. So Jamie says, sell me on the wood grain finish versus the standard black.
Well, standard black we don't have, but I think you're referring to just the bottom of the table is a product called EPVC.
I think this.
The edge. I think the edge.
Oh, you're actually the wood
black.
inlay. Thank you. I'm thinking mats. Great question. We have 3 styles. We have the standard powder-coated black aluminum, very sleek. It's very durable. We highly recommend it for commercial use because you got to really get after it to damage it. The wood grain, we have 2 luxuriant models. The luxuriant oak, which has oak inlays, and this is 1/4-inch oak with a very hard catalytic varnish on it. It's very, very durable, almost marine grade. The corners then are the HDPE black. I have a rail sitting back here, but you can see those on the Kickstarter. And then we also have the premium walnut. We have some of the sculpted rails from Dogmite, but I think there's only like 2 of them left. 2 of the Watson Vikings, I think.
Wow.
Excuse me. I'm a craftsman, so I love the tactile feel and the look of wood. It gives that extra heirloom quality. The military grade aluminum frame is still the same. All the structure, everything else is identical. It just, the mold has an option to add the inlay in there. We're really diligent about our quality control of this so that the color is similar. We use a slight additive in the walnut to make sure that it's all the same color so we don't have big variations. What are your thoughts, Josiah, about the...
I mean, the walnut is by far my favorite. I just
awesome.
love the color that it has. Just that nice dark wood. It's not too dark, but it's, man, the first time I saw it, I knew it was my favorite finish so far. So
it's very classy. If you're looking for that higher end, and the aluminum, people have said, well, is it really cold or really bad? Well, if you have a really cold basement, it's metal, so you're going to feel a coolness, but it's not like it's not like freezing cold or unusable at all. It's just cool. But the wood just gives that little extra tactile feel. Mark, you have our first generation.
I have the original. Yep, the original oak. It's held up. It's held up to spills and all kinds of things. No problem, So whatever that varnish you have on these, it's just fantastic. So, and it's of course my corners are not the black ones, but the original oak wood looking things. So, but yeah, I mean, I would definitely suggest the wood. It just sets it off. I like outside, and obviously the nice black all the way around is cool and all, but I definitely prefer the wood. So
we have the standard aluminum, is a nice price point, and it's extremely durable and really does look nice and neutral. Goes great with the dining cover, the legs, our components, everything goes nice. And there's so many mats that really look great with the black, that dungeon mat with the grays. The steel gray.
Yeah.
Super classy. But our wood mat or the wood toppers they're just another notch.
It is. I agree.
For me, it's totally worth it. But
yeah.
I kind of a question in the similar vein from Jeff. Will the wood grain mat clash with the lighter oak rails?
Oh, that's such a good question. You have, I think, the wood grain mat, right?
Yes, it doesn't. I use it in filming all the time. And obviously, these aren't the light color wood that I have, but it works great. I mean, it's a different tone for sure, but filming up against it, it doesn't feel like it clashes in any way.
We were pretty diligent, to be honest with you, when we selected the colors of the high resolution wood grain, because it has the same tonal browns. I'm an artist. I paint wildlife. I used to sell furniture years and years ago, but understood fabric matching and things like that. So I view things, from an aesthetic standpoint. And so I was very detailed about that. We didn't want it to have too much of a yellow tint and not too much of a green tint and not too much of a brown. It had to be the right tone so that it would look good with the walnut and it would look good with the natural oak. Mark's topper has a Waverly finish. That wood was stained and then varnished. Same varnish, and same process. But the problem with staining wood is it's always going to be irregular from one generation to the next.
Sure.
So we knew we wanted to go with product that would be more standardized, that would match down the road. So if you bought a walnut on our last campaign, you can buy a walnut leaf for it now or a rail, and it's going to match pretty close.
Makes sense. Yep.
Christopher says, what are the chances that a Watson leaf would ship with the first wave?
Go ahead.
So it depends. We have a limited stock of both rails and leaves that can ship with wave 1 orders. So it will depend on the total number of orders that we have for those items, because we want to ship as much as we can, but we also want to make sure that we're being fair to our backers and that we're shipping things out correctly in that regard. So it's hard to tell you for sure if you're guaranteed to get your leaf or your rail wave 1, but if we can, we will.
Right now, based on the amount that we were able to do on wave 1, we were able to put in an order with our manufacturer here in my hometown with some aluminum and parts that were already still available to be manufactured. They aren't done yet, but they're in the process right now so that we could accomplish this. We've been doing a lot of forward thinking. Even last September, we ordered a really significant amount of game mats so that we could do enough to facilitate this wave 1 process. So there was a lot of logistics involved so we could do this well. We do have some additional leaves being made as well with some existing inventory, but if every backer in wave 1 purchased an XL leaf, we probably wouldn't have enough. In fact, we would not have enough. So they would come really close on the heels, though, because our next delivery segment is just in October, November. So that process is already in the works as well. So you can order it now. It ships in a separate package anyway, like Josiah says. So that's for safety and to make sure it arrives well for you.
Willie says, I'm going with the standard aluminum for the added durability. I have kids and plan on using it outside from time to time.
That's awesome.
Perfect.
That's awesome. We're going to talk about, keep the questions coming in. I see there's other comments and stuff. Thank you all for joining. We so appreciate the feedback, the kind words. I saw Trent was in there, and Ferg was talking about a ping pong size Mycroft. Will there be a net? That would be kind of awesome. We can turn this into a multi-purpose. We'll have to get some little corner pool cups or something, right?
That'd be awesome.
Want to talk about a couple of our stretch goals.
Yeah, I was going to look to see what you unlocked.
Well, one of the things that was just unlocked was the Secret Cabal Gaming Podcast crest, Matt. For those of you that don't know, the Secret Cabal Gaming Podcast are good friends of ours. We sponsor their show. Love those guys. Lots of Cabalists out there, and they love this design from Jamie Keggy. And so this allows the Kabbalists to get something that's kind of unique and cool.
Oh, yeah. That looks awesome.
It's really neat. He's an amazing artist.
Yes, he is. Yep.
He's done great graphic work, but we're actually giving back a portion to the Secret Cabal whenever somebody selects one of those mats too. So it's a way we can kind of give back to the community and that type of thing. The new dining cover leaf bag was unlocked at $550, and we have the sample here. We've made some changes to the dining cover to make it more flexible for all the different sizes. Maybe just real quick, why don't you explain that again for those of you that might not know the improvements that we've made?
Yeah, so we readjusted the sizes for the dining covers, which are for the Watson and Holmes toppers, where they have 15-inch end pieces and then 12-inch middle sections, which allow you, by taking those in or out, to fit almost all the configurations. So you could, for example, have the Holmes cover with the two ends in one section, and you could cover a Lestrade. You could add another section and cover an Adler, add another couple sections, and you're covering the 3x5 and the Holmes. So you're able to do that. Plus, we have our extension bundle where you can buy another 2 sections so that you could cover a Holmes XL, and that can keep going on. Add as many leaves as you want.
And that's an upcoming stretch goal with those 2 that will be unlocked shortly. I'm confident that a lot of the stretch goals that we've unlocked now, or that we've put up there, will unlock. We have some future stretch goals too that, if we continue on at a good pace here, that we'll be able to offer. But that leaf bag was awesome, by the way. The leg kit bag, we had a lot of people asking, and we thought, wow, we'll just put them in our rail bags. That'll be fine. Well, then you got the center support, and it's a big chunk of metal. You don't want to be carrying that around and banging it. Okay, let's just make a decent bag. And so we got on our horse and figured that out for you. I think you guys, I hope you understand how much we do care about what you think, and what we can't always do everything. That's always the tension. It's like feasibility studies. It just doesn't always make sense to do it. But nonetheless, we love to hear from you. And then if we can do it, and sometimes you guys have helped us think outside of our own little box that we're narrowed into. And sometimes we've been able to come up with really creative solutions, and this was one of them. We have listened a lot. There's a lot of people that like to get the Holmes topper and an extension leaf, so they can have a Holmes XL 3 foot by 8 foot. Crazy cool. Put it on an 8 foot plastic table, or keep the extension leaf in, put a rail on it, take a 3x5. You can take the other half, put a rail on it, have a Lestrade. So that's 2 tables with that solution. You can get 2 leg kits, so you can have 2 separate tables. But then there's a 3x5 configuration that became super popular. People love that. So we unlocked a bunch of mats, like 6 of them last time. We have now unlocked 15 styles of our mats in 3x5. You will never know how much angst that causes my logistics manager. Every time we keep adding to our numbers, like, okay, how are we going to organize that? But we're listening. So that's pretty cool. We talked about the privacy player shields.
I'll just throw that video up again for anyone who didn't see it before real quick. Just play that again.
So cool.
So this is just a 3D rendering of those.
And they easily go in and out of there too. And even the face piece, if you wanted to just put the face piece in the card slot, I think that's one of the features of our game topper that we under educate and under promote. I mean, but this ability for us to be able to put cards in our rail and even thicker tiles is such a significant feature. And you can take those panels and put it in there too if you just wanted to have a privacy screen. They fit in there perfectly. I mean, you've used the card slot a lot for different things.
I do all the time, actually. Quite a bit.
And then we're almost there at $600,000. The Lord Burton Mat Rack Bundle.
Oh yeah, that looks awesome.
Tell us about the mat rack, Mark.
Oh man, the mat, that saved me so much time because before I'd have them all piled up somewhere and I'd have to go through them and sort to find what I wanted to put out. And literally I'm changing my mat 3-5 times a week because of filming and so forth. So having that rack just off to the side over here where I can just quickly pull stuff and throw it out, it's awesome. And it's super sturdy. And not only that, does it hold the game topper stuff, but it has rails that you can drop any smaller mats over, like for a card game or something. So it's super versatile. I mean, I use it almost daily. So, I mean, I love it.
Well, what do you think about the quality of it?
Oh, that's what I was saying. It's super sturdy. I wasn't sure, just seeing pictures, I was like, oh, is it kind of wobbly? Not at all. Super sturdy, super easy to put together. I mean, I think I put it together in like 20 minutes, not even that, 15 maybe. So went together really fast. And I didn't even look at like any instructions. I just kind of I'm like, oh, it all makes sense. So.
And then we've actually put together 2 videos for the JJ Burton mat rack, which is a 4-hole mat. And that we've unlocked as a stretch goal too at 500,000, where you get 4 mats and that mat rack and 4 of the storage bags. Matt, you have some of the storage bags too, right?
Yes, love the storage. So I have got a couple of mats that I don't use as often, like the red one, right? The original one that came with the table. I don't use that one as often as I used to because I like the themed stuff so much better. But I keep the extras in those bags for sure. So
they have a clear window on them too, so you can see what mat is in there.
Yep.
So anyway, the Lord Burton rack, I just want to talk about this for a few moments. This is the same 3/4 inch commercial grade countertop MDF. It's a higher level of MDF than normal. It's denser. It's a bit heavier, but it's super good because you can use it for countertops. They use it in hospitals, use it in restaurants and hotels. For different countertop applications. This powder coating is really nice. That seals the wood pretty well. Still a wood product, so you have to treat it like wood, but it is powder coated, which gives an extra little level of protection. And they perform so well, we thought it was a perfect solution to create a cost-effective solution for the dining gaming covers. And you're going to notice there's some stretch goals just down there that we actually have where you can just buy the end shelf. So you can have your own DM shelf or a snack tray or a workstation.
Right.
It's super cool. But this Lord Burton rack, it has 2 metal rods, like Mark was saying, and they just simply pull out. So if you got a whole bunch of them laying over there, like I have my Blood Rage, I have the Mare Nostrum, I have a Dice Tower, I have some X-Men, what are those again? X-Men Dice Masters, bunch of different mats sitting there, and you can just pick it up and then take it off, so you can access it really easy, right?
Yep. And mine holds like for the Cthulhu stuff and for like Chip Theory, for their different mats and things. I've just got a ton of stuff I'm using it for. So.
Well, I think that's the thing. Mats are a deal. I always get a mat with some of my bigger games that I kickstart. I love that.
Me too. Absolutely.
Our mats. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say they're really nice to get, but I have to say though that your mats are some of the best I've ever seen. So by far, I mean by far. And just the fact, and I love all the new stuff that you're doing with them too. Even that giant lava mat, I can't wait to play some stuff and film on that one. So there's all kinds of really cool stuff, but you're right though. I mean, it's the fact that I can use it for other mats as well is fantastic. So.
Well, in our last Kickstarter, our mats have become so popular and people are talking about them. They've even caught the eye of a lot of publishers, and we've been able to partner with them to make our mats for their Kickstarters. Like Breaking Games, we did over 1,000 of the Dwellings of Eldervale mats for them and fulfill them because it was so easy for us to just add. That's what we do well.
Yep. And
just come alongside them, let them profit on it. And we place it with our orders and just play a small part. Arcane Wonders, the new Foundations of Rome mat came from that idea.
Yep. Which is a fantastic mat as well. So
isn't it awesome?
It's so awesome. And that one really deceived me, because when I first saw the pictures, I was like, I kind of like it. But then after getting it and putting it on the table, I was like, wow, this is something special. So again, with all the mats, I feel that way every time I put one on.
Yeah.
I'm currently using the space mat for a space game that I'm filming this weekend. So
okay, cool.
But yeah.
Well, the last thing I'll say about this stretch goal at $600,000, excuse me, it took me quite a bit of time to analyze this 4-pack and 6-pack. On our last campaign, we had a lot of people say, hey, could you make us a baker's dozen where we buy 12 mats and get one free? I mean, people said that, and I was like, wow. People really like our mats.
Yeah. I mean, I have friends who have ordered just your mats. They don't have tables or game toppers, but they order your mats frequently.
Well, that's what's so fun about this. I just love the joy people are having, and the immersion of a thematic mat is it's just another notch.
Yeah.
And I'm the Emerald Lagasse of board gaming. Bam! Another mat. But the Lord Burton, particularly, these mat racks were not a good profit margin for us. They were very expensive to make states, and I wanted them to be affordable, but it's like, how can I benefit people that would really like this solution that are already having a trouble storing other mats?
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, this is our Kickstarter. I'm not going to be able to do this going on. This wouldn't be a good business plan going forward. But for our Kickstarter, this is a way I was able to reward all of our past backers and our new backers. We have 6 brand new mats, and most of the people don't have a lot of our other mats. They might have wanted our Viking mat or one they didn't pick up before. This was a way, when we ran the numbers, and Josiah and I were talking, and it was this, are you sure you want to do that? And I said, yeah, I think I do. We worked it out on this deal. You almost get that rack free by buying 6 mats.
Oh, wow.
And that's at our Kickstarter sale prices, not the retail prices. It's way off the retail prices. So it's a crazy good deal. It's after the pledge survey goes out, we're going to ask everybody to please fill out the surveys right away, because Josiah is getting married on the 19th of June. Woohoo! And when he comes back from his honeymoon, about June or right after the 4th of July, we're going to close down some of these stretch goals, and those prices are going to change. We may offer them, but the prices are going to change, because we're doing this just for you who backed our Kickstarter, and we want to reward you and say thank you. And that's from the bottom of our heart. But I think you'll love these products, the 4-hole JJ Burton or the Lord Burton.
Yeah, we have a couple of questions here we can get through. Daniel says, I'm getting either the Holmes or Watson. Both would work on my table. One thing that will help me decide any pros or cons between the Lestrade and the Hudson. Any games play better on one versus the other?
You have an opinion on that, Mark?
I would say, what's interesting is that almost everything fits perfectly on my Watson. Now, obviously, there's some bigger games, like most recently Mosaic from Forbidden Games that I did a preview for. That game is ginormous, but it looks amazing. So that one would be a little snug for sure. You could do it, but you really need a little bit bigger space for that game. But in general, most of the games that I have generally fit really well with like 3 and 4 player people at the table. So the Watson for that size in general works really well, but it will have limitations for some of those giant games. Absolutely. So,
and what's kind of interesting about it too is we have about 800 games in our collection. You might have more than that.
It's about what I have.
and I think 95% of what we own, we play on the Watson. It's fine. There's a couple games, like we played Star Trek Ascendancy. We love that game.
Yep.
And we've played it 6 players before, and we've done it on a Watson, but we're consolidating, and putting our component trays and the cup holders helps with the real estate.
It does. Right? It does. Yep. And I could say that I usually play that game with 3 players, and it works really well on the Watson at 3. So plenty of space for that.
We played Scythe 6-player with the big board, and it's just a little tight on the edge.
But it is. Yep. But I always play with the big board regardless.
Right. Yep. I think that's the nice thing about the versatility. You've got a lot of options, and with the 24-inch extension leaf, that's a big real estate saver there. If you're really concerned about the big games, Watson or the Holmes, you can really make it big.
You can. But I would say
we have the big Mycroft.
Yes, that's awesome. Oh my gosh, so huge. So that's for your Twilight Imperiums and games
big
like
Warhammer.
That. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, for sure.
But like you said, 95% of what I play fits perfectly on the Watson. So
I think what's kind of nice to know too is that you can reach across it nicely.
Yes, that's also really, you don't have to get up and go do something on the other side. So I like that a lot, especially for filming. I don't have to go like, I got to get up and redo this shot, or whatever. But just, and playing with the family, right? Everybody's it just feels, the size feels more cozy, so to say, for the Watson. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Daniel also says, kudos to you guys for using the 1/4-inch wood inlay. A lot of guys would just use veneer. That wood will last. Keep up the great work.
Yep. Exactly.
Thank you. Those things really matter to me. I want this to be heirloom. I want it to have the test of time. And I've said this so many times. I feel like maybe I just repeat myself and I'm talking too much, but it's like, if you haven't experienced a game topper yet, talk to past owners. Ask them how they feel the quality is and how it's held up, because these are things that really matter to me. And I take a lot of effort for this attention to detail.
Jody says, get the Holmes, so versatile. I have the Holmes with the oak inlays, and it's quite fantastic. You can't go wrong with wood of this quality.
No doubt.
Thanks, Jody.
I agree.
I think we should have one of these shows where we have a group of Holmes backers and a group of Watson backers just clash
back and forth.
No, yes, no.
Ellen Kirby says, Mark.
Hey. Ellen and Randy from We Game Together is going to be on the show next Monday night, 6 p.m. Central Time. It's going to be fun.
That'll be awesome.
I love those guys.
Yep, me too.
Willie asked, did you say the Wave 2 acrylic cup holder covers graphics will be different from the current ones? If so, do you have them on hand to show the differences?
Kind of. The Wave 1 ones are what we had from existing stock, and they have the really nice colored logo. And we love those. They're expensive. The new one, what we're doing is putting in I don't know if this camera is going to show it off very well. I can't see it. Okay, there you go. It's a frosted logo.
Yeah.
And what's really great about these is you can use these, both of them, without a problem with dry erase markers. So this can now become a score pad too.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Super cool. If you're playing whatever you're playing, everybody.
Yeah, I use this one as a score pad all the time.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. I think we're not going to put the logo on the center of the single cup holders now, just for that particular reason.
Sure.
So it's
Makes
not
sense.
distracting.
Yep.
And now we have these cool logo bottoms. So it was like, okay, I like our logo. I don't, some people don't like it when you brand stuff, but man, I'm a big believer in branding stuff. You can tell. Yep. Look, I'm a walking brand.
So we are caught up on questions. Do you maybe want to talk about mat surveys?
Oh,
Mat
yes.
surveys, what you've all been waiting for.
Yes, I want to hear.
All right. So we have 175 votes so far of their favorite mats. Now, I know what is our top selling.
Sure.
So this is a small sample size, pretty much towards our board game group. A lot of people, obviously we've sold thousands and thousands of mats. So this is a very small sample size. Doesn't really reflect necessarily our sales numbers. But Mark, what do you think is the number one selling mat or number one voted on mat at this point?
I mean, I love all the different types and so forth, but man, I find that the wood grain one just might still be my current favorite at the moment.
Okay.
And the most versatile. And as soon as you had that one available, I couldn't wait to get it. So for me, that would be my vote at the moment.
People love the wood grain mat. We get reviewers in particular love it. They just think that's the versatility of that for so many things on camera works really
so
great.
many. It's awesome. And I've had so many people ask me, "Oh, that's an amazing wood table." I said, "No, it's just a mat."
And like we've talked before, it really matches nicely with both of our wood finishes or the standard.
Yep.
I'm going to go from the bottom up a little bit.
Oh,
here.
okay.
Is that all right?
Suspense. So much suspense.
We have all of them are fairly close. The Texas Hold'em, the two Secret Cabal mats, the War Terrain White, the Terrain Hex. They are closer. The blue are closer to the bottom, but they're kind of all lumped together. And it's not like they're significantly lower, but they're definitely not up at the top. And then we hit a big middle group that's almost identical in this poll.
Okay.
We have the red, crimson red,
okay,
which we've sold a lot of that mat.
Yeah, for sure.
The dungeon, which in my opinion is one of my favorites.
It is. It's one, and I use it for every dungeon-based game that I can. So
it's got 1-inch squares. Whenever we demo that on a Mycroft at shows, our sales just like that, they go, "Oh, this looks so much better."
Right.
It just doesn't do it justice.
And the grays, the neutral colors set everything off the table that you're playing with. It's so good. So
you can see the little moss in the cracks of the cobblestone.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's Andreas Zifferatus, who did Mage Wars and Android Netrunner. Amazing artist. The castle, the brand new Cthulhu mat, they're all right in that grouping of being very close together. And then we start escalating into the top.
Nice.
And so the brand new The Great Wall by Vincent Dutrait is in the top segment.
Okay.
The Scythe inspired resource mat.
Oh, yeah.
People love that mat.
Yep.
The wood grain mat.
Yes.
The adventure mat.
The
space mat are all in that grouping of right together, almost at the exact same number. There's a ranking scale, and they're all within like a fraction of a point.
Mm-hmm.
That's how close people like them.
Wow.
But then
Now, top four.
Oof.
Number 4. My Eric Summerer voice.
Yes.
The Ryan Lockett mats.
Oh, yes. Those are beautiful. Yep.
People love Ryan Lockett's work, and he's such a great guy and such an amazing artist and person. Love that. And that map particularly goes with so many different things. That's really cool.
Yep.
Number 3.
The Pirate mat.
Oh, number 3, really?
A brand new mat, breaking it into the top 3.
Top 3. Yeah,
No one even has it yet.
That's definitely my favorite of the new bunch of stuff.
I would agree with that. This is a big surprise for us based on sales numbers.
Okay.
But according to this poll, number 2
is the fantasy mat.
The fantasy mat. Such a great mat. It's got that dragon flying out across the top. You've got a dwarf out there guarding his fortress, and you've got the wood elves fighting the orcs in the bottom. You got the castle up in the top. The whole, it's neutral. You can play Lord of the Rings. You can play any of that stuff on it, and it's just really a cool palette.
It is. Yep.
And so it's a great mat. That's Yaroslav Radecki, who did our pirate mat. He did our scythe inspired mat. He did the new Foundations of Rome mat, and the #1 voted non mat,
the Viking mat.
Viking. Yeah. I mean, the colors, the richness of that mat, the colors, everything just pop big time. So, but the thing is that I love that mat and I use it where I can, but it's not part of my mainstay for filming. It's more of my mainstay for playing than filming. Just because sometimes I'm looking for that more neutral mat to film off of. Right. And that's really the only reason, but for playing though, we use that one all the time for all kinds of games. So,
well, you can, it's got that water, and the art is so gorgeous, but most of the center is water. Yeah,
which is nice for. There's definitely certain games that we always will use that one for. So,
well, after we saw the pirate mat, we were like, because we love the Viking mat. That's been our favorite, but they're all my children, so they're all my favorite. We're gonna go into the next segment of our survey, but I think we've got another couple comments.
Jody says, I really like the new frosted logo, keeping it classy. Trent says, need those Game Topper shirts / merch.
Those hoodies are amazing. Those need to be available. Those are phenomenal.
You like the hoodies?
I wear that for my early morning walks all the time. So
we have a really nice tri-blend t-shirt. We have some booth shirts like this. We also made some really cool mugs.
Oh yeah, those mugs are awesome.
They're really crazy expensive. I pay $16 a piece. So I'm like, well, gosh, it's gonna cost me $8 to ship the dumb thing. It's $24 before I've even made a nickel. Well, I don't really need to make money, but it's like, who's going to pay $30 for a mug? And, I don't know. So they're cool. We use them as giveaways to some of our sponsors or to our publishers and friends like that. But it's always that tension, how bad do people want them? Because they are cool.
Arby asks, any chance to ever see dining cover that is somehow raised higher for keeping games with minis under without too much maintenance?
That's a great question. And I think that's probably the only downside of our design. Our vault is 1.5 inches thick, and it's deliberate. But one of the reasons why that is the way it is first off, we did a ton of market survey before we went to market, and overwhelmingly people said they did not like to look down into a deep craps table type of vault.
Oh yeah, I hate that so much.
Over and over people said that. So we were thinking about ergonomics, the raised height of the rail. Sometimes people are worried that maybe the rail adding to their table is too high. It actually, instead, a table is designed to eat on. So when you're hunched over a 29-inch table to play a game for 3 hours, it wears on you. This here, I mean, have you noticed how comfortable the Game Topper is?
Super comfortable. Yeah. I mean, like you said, this is my position for filming for hours at a time. And it's super comfortable for that, or gaming, or building Legos for a long stretch, during a stream or something. It's just perfect. And obviously, you're depending on your table, you'll have some different heights going on. Like this, I think this antique table is a little bit lower than some, but just a little bit, like 1/2 inch or something.
Sure.
But in general, though, I think that it promotes that good posture as well. So, which I like a lot. But yeah, it's super comfortable. So it
also gives, by sitting up and the floor being elevated, allows us to do those cross supports that create all that strength of our topper and that friction footprint so it doesn't move. And then your visual acuity, it's so much easier to see your pieces when you're playing across the table.
Yep.
But the downside is it's only 1.5 inches. So you have miniatures and people that want covers. If you have a miniature that's going to be more than 1 3/8 inches, you're going to have to lay it down.
Yeah,
it'll
that's
cover
what
most of your games.
Yeah, most of the time you could just lay them flat and then still put the covers on and have them basically where they were. You just stand them back up, which is a lot less work than setting up the entire game again. So
I'm kind of giving a really long example or explanation just to help everybody think about the realizing. But I appreciate the question because elevating the copper, the problem for us is making a cost-effective solution on the wood. And wood right now is crazy expensive, and having to machine or add height to the outside and still keeping it comfortable to eat on is a bit of a problem.
Talking about the dining cover.
The dining cover, thank you. But I know a lot of people are using some of these like 2-inch foam blocks that you get dice and stuff. You could put those inside your vault or on top of your rail if you had those specific situations where you just needed to elevate it. I mean, frankly, you could put a 2x4 there and get it up 1.5 inches.
Yep. I mean, I use those kinds of foam blocks all the time for spacing stuff out for filming. So I mean, I can imagine if you had, like I have a whole bunch of these because of that. So you could easily, set stuff off with stuff like this, and it's just foam and works really well. But again, I use this for like, I'll put the camera on the table and I'll bump the camera up or put it at an angle, or pieces, I'll set it behind, anyway, I use these foam pieces to elevate things all the time. So,
well, that might be something we might be able to look at. We have some really high-end resin that we get for our packaging, and it probably wouldn't be the cheapest solution for our manufacturing, but we might be able to get some 3-inch strips or something that possibly could help with that. I don't know. We might need to think about that a little more too, but I really appreciate the thoughts and kind of trying to giving you the whole roundabout way of finding a fix to that. But
Mark asks, how about a game topper tumbler?
Yes,
that could be a little bit more doable.
That would be awesome.
That's a good question.
It's almost like we have done it.
Well, we did. We have a glass, and we made some little goblets. I think we're all out of those.
Yeah, you have your little tumbler with the frosted logo on it that you made. You didn't make many of them; just made a couple of them.
Which one?
Your game topper, the little tumbler glass.
Oh yeah, I think that's the glass baller glass, but it's kind of like a whiskey glass shape. But they also have the stainless steel tumbler, like for your coffee mugs. Is that what you're referring to, or?
I think a tumbler glass is smaller.
A little smaller, yeah. Well, that's possible. The biggest problem with all that stuff is shipping it. Just ask Jamie Kagi from the Secret Cabal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can get glassware or you can get those stainless steel tumblers too. So, yeah, there's all kinds of different things. If people want them, we might be able to do it, bring them to shows and stuff like that. That'd be fun. Drink topper. Okay, on to the next thing. I think we're going to kind of move along real quick here, but we asked everybody, a lot of our XL backers, they want the XL mats. Currently, we have 5 styles: steel gray, crimson red, the adventure, and the terrain green. And we have just a few of the terrain hexes that will be available. But we're on the stretch goal. We're keeping those 4 as the main ones. We're adding 4. So now we were asking for your input. What do you want? I do have one limitation that I want to bring up to people is there's a lot of people voting on these. There's one particular mat is going to be difficult for me to make. and that's going to be the Ryan Lockett in the XL. It requires a redesign of the artwork, and Ryan is crazy busy. He'd be willing to do it, but it might take longer than we could actually get it produced and all of those things. And we offer it in all of our other sizes. So doing it in an XL is going to be a struggle. And I just want to be open with everybody about that. I wish I could fix that, but that's a unique scenario there. Ryan's great to work with and has no problem with it, but it's just a matter of we don't stretch the graphics. We make it for the size. So I have a little bit different situation with my graphic artist and with a couple of the other artists where we can make some changes. So I won't go all the way through, but I'm going to hit it at the middle of the list. We have a group of mats that the bottom four of this middle group is the Great Wall from Vincent Dutrait. That thing's gorgeous, right?
Yes, absolutely. I love it.
Oh, so awesome. The Roman theme mat, the Scythe-inspired resource mat, and the fantasy mat. So while people talk about it as their favorite, in the XL size, it was in the middle grouping. Now, when I say middle grouping, these are all like one or two away from being the top. That's how close it is.
That's cool.
What do you do?
Right.
What do you do?
You vote. Such a hard choice.
Let us know what you want. And then the top four. Number 4
is the wood grain.
Yes, absolutely.
Personally, I actually think this is a really good choice, and I'm going to weigh in heavily personally on this. If we have tiebreakers, I'm going to make the choice, and I know this will be a very good seller.
Yep.
This sells like crazy on our site. It's a very good seller in all of our styles.
One of the best, most versatile mats for sure.
So versatile. Number 3, and this is a tie.
Between the space mat and the Ryan Lockett mat.
Ooh, tough.
Lots of people want that big space mat.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I use it for so many things.
Number two
is the new pirate mat.
Yes. Very good. Cool.
That's a great choice because it's a great big hunk of water. It's just got all kinds of piratey, medievalish type of feel in a sense.
Yep.
Not quite medieval, but you know what I mean.
Renaissance. Such a good mat. Yeah.
And at the top of the list, number 1, the most requested XL mat
is the Viking.
Yep.
Topping both lists.
Just the color pop on that one is just amazing.
It's still my favorite mat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I really like that pirate mat. I really like the other one, so it depends on the game.
Pirate is definitely my new favorite, 100%.
I love the adventure mat.
Oh, me too. I use it a lot. Yep.
It's just great. And that Rome mat, when I'm playing a Rome themed game, I'm going to play viticulture on it. It's perfect. Yeah, it's got all those vineyards in there.
Yep.
We have a quick question here from Ron. Says, I'm getting the Viking sculpted homes, thinking about picking up an XL extension. What would match the Viking sculpted best, the walnut or the oak?
Hey, thanks, Ron. It's very interesting. Probably the walnut would be the closest. It's going to be a little bit darker, and it's going to be all smooth. I have just a few extra pieces of that sculpted Viking material that they just weren't quite first for me. I hand selected all of the sculpted wood and aligned them based on wood grain. And there was a few that just didn't match up quite right, or there was a color variation. A couple of them that just has some maybe little flaws in the engraving. Nothing serious. They weren't like total rejects or anything like that. But I'm picky. I kept those aside. There's a potential that I could help make you one. It probably costs another $75. I could custom cut it for you and order a couple of those rails without wood and put them in there. That's what I did with all of these anyway. Each one of these game toppers that are custom sculpted, I assembled and signed on the bottom. So it actually says limited edition Viking Watson topper, enjoy gaming, Berkey. So there's a little bit of fun, special, extra attention that went into these, and I hope you guys love them. But you can email me on that. If that's not possible, that's the walnut is going to be about the closest.
Color-wise, now there is also the option of just going with the standard aluminum because that black finish does actually match really well. It has a nice kind of contrast that if you feel like the wood matching up could throw you off a little bit, if the colors of the wood not being the same, you could have that black in there. So.
That's true, because you still have the black edges and the inside of the vault, which would make the inside of the vault all look exactly the same too. I mean, it would with the other two. But
on our last campaign, we had some questions, people asking about putting a standard leaf into one of the walnut or oak toppers, and we actually took a couple of pictures. So we just have to see if we could find where those are from the last campaign, but it actually looked really good. So.
Well, one last thing we'll talk about the poll. This is going to go till Saturday night, and then I'll be making a decision and making a reveal. Next Monday night, we'll probably let everybody know about that. But that stretch goal for the XL mats is at 6:15, so we might hit it by then. So we'll see what happens for the actual reveal. But we also asked everybody a couple other questions. The one that's relevant now is about us possibly doing a backer's choice mat. This would be for a future fulfillment purchase type of thing. Nothing we could include in this Kickstarter. I know it's like, oh, they're doing it. We're going to vote on it and we're going to get it. No, it doesn't quite work that way, because we still have to do the art design. We have to work with the artist. We have to get it proofed. It's a long, involved process, and then we have to get it ordered and shipped. And so that'll be a down the road, but it's an attempt to have you all really involved, because I really wanted to listen to what you were saying. And right now, Matt, well, let me ask Mark. Did you fill out the survey, or did you know about this?
I did not know about it. No.
Okay. Well, you've been hiding under a rock.
Well, I have been busy filming.
I'm kidding. I know you're crazy busy. So what, if you had another mat that you could have designed, what would you want?
Oh man, I haven't thought about that yet, because there's so many that just, oh yeah, I have that. Let me think about that for a minute. So
this is great radio.
Yeah, right. It's great radio.
We're not on radio.
Wow.
We're not on radio.
I think I like the space mat that you have, but I would like, much like the fantasy mat, I would love to have like some sort of space alien, like asteroids floating in the middle, where there's like maybe a little battle going on off to the side, things like that, that you'd play like Terraforming Mars on, maybe something like that, that would be something I would like to see, just because I love the new artwork, the direction for some of those new mats, how they're more themed, and obviously the space mat I use it for so much stuff, but I would love to have, like you said, little green men in the corner, fighting it out or something like that,
That's interesting.
Willie says, Mark, pick horror.
Well, we have the Cthulhu mat, right?
We do have Cthulhu.
But that would be another really cool, like old Victorian type horror-esque, kind of steampunk kind of feel to it. That would be pretty cool as well. I could see that. An old rustic, like old rustic cabin, something like that kind of wood feels, like holes in the table, and maybe little crazy things happening in those different areas of the table as well. So I could see some of that being really cool too, for sure.
Willie Loomis says, if I buy a mat from the Secret Cabal Kickstarter, does it come with the option to get a bag? That's a great question, and I really want to encourage anybody that Jamie Kagi, the Secret Cabal Gaming Podcast, really good friends of ours. We support their show. We help them with all of their mats, some of their play mats, and this really helps them continue to produce content. And this is an area that if you really want to support them, their Kickstarter starts June 2nd. And if you have a decision to buy the Cabal mat from us or to buy it from them, buy it from them. You're still going to get it from us, but they're going to make more of the profit. And that's what we really want on this. So we make it available in our sizes so we can accommodate our topper packages, and we're going to give them a little kickback on each one of those. But that's just a generous thing that I'm doing for Jamie. That's not it's just what I want to do to help the show. So, but the best way for you to help them is to do that. And you can get the bag from them too. He's got a lot of really cool things scheduled there. So keep your eye out for the Secret Cabal Gaming Podcast.
The other thing I was going to say is the fact that I have a ton of superhero based games. I would love a mat around superheroes somehow.
So how would you design a superhero mat?
That, it could be like a flowing cape of some sort, or a cityscape where there could be little, caped crusaders running around below in the city doing things, or all kinds of options around that for sure. But I have enough superhero games that I would love to have something designed around that as well.
Get the call.
What about you guys? You obviously have a lot of the mats that you wanted, but is there one that you're like, oh, I really would like to create this mat?
Well, I have quite a few ideas, and I actually had a few more ideas that I wanted to implement for this campaign that I just wasn't able to put it all together. I'm going to shut this off. Then it comes from my phone. This watch, I tell you, it's not podcast friendly. So a lot of the backers have answered this question, and I had an impression because I've been doing some market surveys. Is there a particular one you want, Josiah?
I was just thinking. I think we've hit a lot of like the thematic mats that I would want, but I could see having some more kind of terrain neutral maps that I'd use for miniature gaming. I do a lot of miniature gaming.
For sure, yeah.
So kind of like a desert or sandy themed mat. I can see that.
That makes a lot of sense, because like the green one I use so much because so many games work on that terrain,
Yep. So I like having that as a background too, where like you don't need to put extra terrain and things on some areas.
Exactly.
So it helps not having to do as much creating there.
So far, the most commonly requested mats in the survey, and I've gone through and looked at all of them. There's a lot of pages of thoughts, and it's so cool to hear what everybody's thinking. How that relates to the actual art is always subjective and is always a whole nother thing. It's kind of like, well, why do you pick what you pick? How do you pick what? Well, I have to go what I think is good for a variety of a lot of games so that I can sell them. I can't make it just specific to one thing because it won't be feasible. Even though it'd be cool to do, but I also got to keep the company running so we can be here for you, all of those things. One of the top ideas right now is an all water map. Just kind of plain with all water.
The Cthulhu one is kind of that, though. It's a stormy sea, right? But it's kind of that. It's mostly just water.
I think people are thinking where they play Merchants and Marauders, or they're playing Winds of Glory, or
and I think
and that's where I use the Viking mat is for stuff like that.
Some people, I think they kind of want a more zoomed out too, where it's not like smaller waves,
more of a terrain, more of a water terrain mat.
Yes,
top down kind of waves.
Exactly, more neutral, less distracting.
Gotcha.
For miniature gaming things.
Yep.
We've had the same request for like a star field type of mat like you're referring to. Maybe it has a few little asteroids, but not the space station or the big planet.
Right. Yep.
So that's been one that's been commonly requested quite a bit.
Mark says a swamp mat.
Ooh, yeah. That'd be cool. I could use that in a lot of things, actually.
What would you use it in? Tell me.
Well, if it's that darker green, make it more of a terrain-esque mat. You could use it for a lot of different, it wouldn't have to necessarily be swamp related, but just another type of green terrain would be nice.
Yeah, darker green.
Darker green.
Yeah.
Especially, it would have to, move like tank games would be cool on that kind of thing. I've got some Moonshine Empire would be a fun one to play on that. It's again,
I've had quite a few people mention that they want like a tropical dinosaur type of environment.
I would love a dinosaur map. Absolutely. I was a huge dinosaur kid. Give me a dinosaur map. Yes.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of requests for horror.
Yeah, of course.
And particularly like a spooky woods with a gravestone, graveyard, maybe an old mansion in the background, spooky.
That'd be cool. I could also see like a dark, old-esque London cobblestone at night with like a lantern, and you're looking down through the alley, and might be some crazy things going off in the distance. But just to set the mood right for that kind of dark.
You play Mr. Jack on it.
Yeah, exactly. Things like that.
Jody says another space-themed mat and a gothic horror / steampunk mat.
Yeah, totally.
Yep.
Steampunk, interesting.
Yep.
Ron says a mat with pictures of all the other mats on it.
A collage, game topper collage mat.
Sounds like people are liking the dino mat idea.
Dino, man. I'm telling you. I think that might be my new favorite idea. I want a dinosaur mat.
Yeah, that's really interesting, actually. Would it have dinosaurs on it? That's the question.
Yes, like off to the side, like you did with the Viking thing. That kind of
subliminally in the woods, so you have to really look for them, right?
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Clever girl.
And maybe a volcano going off in the corner. Or an asteroid coming in from the sun.
And a pile of goo over there.
Yes.
One of the other ones that's been mentioned quite a bit is an Old West theme and a train theme. Some of them have said Old West train theme, but a lot of people are looking for an XXX type of train themed mat. But then,
the train one makes a lot of sense. There's a ton of games that would work for that, right? The Old West, I feel like the wood grain is kind of an Old West mat.
And the Texas Hold'em fits the bill too.
It does. But I think the train one makes a lot of sense for sure.
You could maybe kind of incorporate both of those themes together.
The swamp mat could work as a dinosaur mat too. I'd play all kinds of dino related games on a swamp terrain mat. So,
yeah,
that's interesting.
Gil Mello says Mark is a pretty awesome guy.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
I agree.
Gil also says racing team, please.
Racing, absolutely. That's a big one. Definitely.
But we do know of a project coming up that I have secret information about. That's going to be crazy cool from a crazy cool designer and board game company that Mark. So you probably know about this, but we can't talk about it.
I think I do know what you're talking about.
All right. Well,
I think you mean what you're not talking about.
Yeah, we know what we know. Nobody else knows what we know. But it might have to do with that question. I don't know.
Yeah, it might have to do with
that. Mark says a mat with a river running through it.
Oh, cool. We do have the Scythe-inspired resource mat that does have that. And I just saw some people playing, and the Roman mat has it, but I saw some people playing a game, and their board, it actually matched where the river came through.
Oh, that's cool.
It was amazing.
You could do a river thing with dinosaurs too, all coming to the river, all along,
waterfall.
Yep.
Yeah. Kind of liking that idea.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure dinosaur is the number one thing you should do. Yeah.
we got to start a lobby group now to like spread the word for the dinosaur man.
Well, we hit some big stretch goals. Maybe we'll commission 2 backer choice mats instead of 1.
Yep. I mean, horror makes a lot of sense because again, that's another one that would fit a ton of games, right? So
Mansions of Madness and
yep.
Just all kinds of horrified. I mean, there's just a lot of those games.
A lot of that kind of stuff. Yep.
Libby says a generic cityscape.
Yeah, we have had quite a few comments about how to, or the cityscape. And I'm trying to wrap my head around what that would look like for an environment that would be universal.
Is it like a top down? Is it like a street view? Like there's kind of different ways to look at that.
Yeah, I could see kind of a top down, especially for city building type games,
Buildings around the edge.
Then you have to decide what era you go with, and
there's that as well. Yep.
Yeah.
It could be a whole subset of themes.
Yeah.
Victorian era. You can have modern era.
I know we're going to be helping out Arcane Wonders with their Freedom 5 Kickstarter. And that's a Sentinels of the Multiverse superhero themed game.
It is.
It does have some of those elements that it might be something that we can build on to fit a little bit of both of those possibly.
Yeah, I'm in.
Gil says a junkyard or post-apocalyptic mat.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense too, because there's a ton of games that would fit in
Car Wars.
That apocalyptic, definitely. All kinds of cool
getting
stuff.
That kind of almost Mad Maxian vibe with it.
Zombie stuff. And
Yep.
Gil also says, Mark, I just put together a bunch of Lego dinosaurs.
Nice. And did you put them together on a game topper? I hope, because it is the best Lego table.
Awesome. Trent says Firefly matches the space mat stupendously.
Yeah, it really does.
And Mark says a bombed out crater style map.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Kind of in that post-apocalyptic theme there.
We've kind of heard some stuff too, like a terraforming Mars on Mars.
Yeah, I could see a Mars red planet mat for sure. Because there's enough games where that would work. That it could even be doubled as just a desert. People use it as a desert environment.
Yeah,
but
a red desert train. I mean, that would work great for a lot of miniature stuff as well.
Yes.
There's so many possibilities, and finding out what is really, really sellable and what people really want.
We're gonna need a bigger building.
We need a bigger boat.
I love it. Have you ever thought about doing like a special limited edition mat that like only, you only have 150 of these and they're gone or something like that?
I actually talked with a couple other noted board game artists who I just love. I really love Ian O'Toole's artwork. Really love Kwanchai Moria. He's just I just love their artwork, and they were both crazy busy. Talked to Michael Menzel.
Oh yeah. Also,
and again, super amazing artists. Love to work with the Cuddingtons. There's so many different people we could connect with.
Yep.
Beth Sorbel would also be another one.
Yep.
And so it's just a matter of being able to, people are very busy and high demand, and artwork is not inexpensive. And we have to sell a certain amount to be able to pay them what I need to pay them to honor their work. I want to do that, so it's like, that's kind of the tension of, okay, how many sizes do we have to stock it in? What does that cost us to space, ship, all of those things, and then pay the art assets. But we wanted to do like a designer series where we did have some noted board game artists and just do something cool. Kind of like BGG did with some of their things.
Yes, right. That would be very cool.
Yeah. Ron says, Berkey stress testing the table mat.
It can hold a Berkey.
Yes, indeed.
And Gil says, Ian O'Toole is the best.
Yeah,
for sure. Amazing.
Well, I think we're going to wrap this up. We got a lot of new stretch goals coming.
Cool.
You can join that survey at Game Topper LLC Facebook page. Our last update has a link to it. Also, you can get it at the Game Topper Nation Facebook group. And we're going to keep that open till Saturday. So weigh in, tell us what you think. I want to really thank you, Mark. You've been a good friend of Game Toppers. You've helped us with videos, those amazing Holmesian mysteries that we did last campaign.
Tons of fun. Those are tons of fun to put together.
They're still out there on the channel if you want to go see some Holmesian mysteries and the case of the missing model.
Yes.
Super fun stuff. But thank you so much, Mark, for helping Game Toppers help us with our videos. You've known the product, enjoyed the product, and told people about it. And we so appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys too. You do a lot of supporting me, and it helps so much. And it also helps elevate the level quality of my videos. So thank you.
Absolutely. Well, if you have any more questions, you can reach out if you have shipping questions to Josiah at support@gametoppersllc.com. And if you have any other questions, feel free to email me at berkey@gametoppersllc.com. We're active in the comment section of the campaign and in the personal messages. Social media is harder to keep track of. I try my best, but if you don't get a hold of me through social media for some reason, please use these other ones and we'll be very responsive. Again, thank you all. Let's take this thing to the moon. Share Game Toppers Kickstarter 3.0.
And we'll be back with another live stream next Monday
at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time with Randy and Ellen Kirby from We Game Together.
That would be awesome. Absolutely.
That would be fun.
So
well, thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on, and we will see you all next time.
See ya.